Welcome on Real Life Truth. Today video we see the remarkable power of touch is profound, whether it is an accidental glazing from a stranger, the strong kneading of a professional masseur, a gentle hold from someone close, a reassuring squeeze of the hand, an "I see you" caress, an encouraging touch on the back, a quick kiss on the forehead, or one that is slower, more tender and more anticipated. It can strengthen connections, heal, communicate, influence, and soothe. When the touch is cold and brittle, it can also widen the distance between two people. If it came with gorgeous packaging and retail hype, we'd be lining up to do the deal. Fortunately, we don't need to do any of that. Our skin is our largest organ and would measure about 2 meters if it was laid flat. Given that our bodies are precious real estate, for something to take up this much room, there must be a good reason for it. Yes, it's to stop infections, and yes, it's to stop our important bits and pieces falling out, but there is another reason. It is the pathway for touch, one of our most powerful and important functions for long-term well-being. Touch is as important as food and security. In one tender squeeze, there are so many things that can be said. "You'll be okay," is "I'm proud of you." "Yeah, I'm worried about it too." "It's scary, isn't it?" "You're freaking amazing." "Come on, talk to me. What's happening with us?" "I love you." When it's from the right person in the right context, we rarely have to guess the words. The words become irrelevant anyway. Instantly, we can feel closer, calmer, and more understood. Touch is fundamental to the human experience. It is most likely no accident, then, that the lack of connection, either emotional or physical, is discussed in terms of touch. Tactless, lost touch with, out of touch. Of course, touch can also hurt. With very good reason, we have made moves to protect ourselves and those we care about from the type of touch that can have catastrophic consequences. There are strong boundaries around the appropriate use of touch, and this is a good thing. We need to feel safe. Safe touch, though, doesn't have to mean no touches. In discouraging the wrong touch, we need to be careful not to make ourselves vulnerable to touch hunger, a phenomenon described by Dr. Tiffany Field, director of the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami. When we experience a lack of physical contact, fundamental human needs are left unmet, particularly around our relationships and our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Research has found clear cultural differences in interpersonal touch. In a widely cited study, psychologist Sidney Jourard observed friends chatting to each other in cafes across the world. Jourard found that in the space of an hour, people in Puerto Rico touched each other an average of 180 times. In Paris, it was 110 times. Jet over to Florida, and the average dropped to twice an hour. In London, the average was 0. There are plenty of good reasons not to touch every stranger we see. There's touch hunger, and then there's creepy. But when we hold back on too much, we miss out on too much. What do we need to know? Unspoken rules. We need touch. We need the comfort, the connection, the security, and the powerful emotional and physical health benefits that come by being touched in safe and appropriate ways. An abundance of research has found that the benefits of touch don't stop at the people we feel safe folding into. Less than 1 second of safe, interpersonal touch, such as a hand to the back or the shoulder, can influence health and behavior in remarkable ways. But how to do this safely? Not all touch is created equal. Research has found certain rules and no-fly zones when it comes to interpersonal touch. We all have a zone of personal space that feels comfortable, but the distance of that no-fly zone depends on culture and social norms, length of touch, context, relationship, and where the touch is. According to research, the touch has to feel non-sexually harassing. This depends on the specific part of the body touched and on the specific characteristics of the person's gender, age, and relationship with a touched person. Being touched on the face by a coworker is considered the most inappropriate and harassing type of touch. It is not surprising, then, that it is also a touch that sends the strongest messages in intimate relationships as well. A touch to the face in intimate relationships can be tender and communicate love and intimacy, or it can be aggressive and frightening and done to communicate control and dominance. Touch in the waist region is also inappropriate and harassing. A gentle tap on the shoulder is considered the least harassing. The many powers of touch. Touch is such a powerful means of communication. It is the first language we learn, and it is the first sense to develop. Done appropriately, it has a profound capacity to nurture our relationships and our overall well-being. Here are some things that it's capable of. More nurturing touch, less violence. Research shows that when there is greater physical affection during childhood, the rates of adult physical violence are lower. On the other hand, when touch is limited, physical and verbal aggression is higher. The results have been found in both adolescents and children. 2. Communication without words. Professor Matt Hertenstein at DePauw University has researched the use of touch as a language and has found that we can communicate emotion through touch, not just with those we are familiar with, but also with strangers. Hertenstein put two strangers in front of each other and separated them with a physical barrier. One person had to put their arm through a hole in the barrier. The other person had to communicate an emotion to the stranger on the other side using only a 1-second touch to the stranger's forearm. With so many emotions on the list, the chances of guessing the right emotion just by chance were about 8. The results left no doubt about our ability to communicate emotion through touch. Compassion was correctly interpreted almost 60 of the time. Gratitude, anger, love, and fear were correctly interpreted more than 50 of the time. 3. Reduces stress. There's no doubt that a cuddle from the right person at the right time can take the steam out of stress. Any touch, even an incidental one that lasts for less than a second, can soothe the physiological response to stress by lowering blood pressure and cortisol, the stress hormone. Lower stress means happier hearts. 4. Brings people closer together. Oxytocin is affectionately known as the cuddle chemical. Affection that is wanted causes the release of oxytocin. It helps to nurture feelings of trust and connectedness, and it also reduces cortisol, the stress hormone. 20 seconds of affectionate touching hours. Back rubs, gentle stroking, is enough to trigger the release of oxytocin. It is also released during sex. 5. Communicates compassion. Sometimes there are no words, but there is touch. Touch activates the body's vagus nerve, which is intimately connected with our compassionate response. The vagus nerve is the pair of nerves that extends from the brain to the belly and passes the heart along the way. 6. It just makes people nicer. Those who are touched in ways that feel appropriate and safe are more likely to cooperate and share resources. As always, the touch doesn't have to be monumental. A quick touch on the back can do beautiful things. 7. Nurtures growth and development. For babies to thrive, they need to be touched. Premature babies who received 3 15-minute sessions of touch therapy each day for 5-10 consecutive days gained 47 more weight than those who received standard medical care and all the nutrition, warmth, and physical security. As well as this, infants whose mothers touched them had more advanced visual motor skills and more advanced gross motor development. 8. But it's not just for the babies. Massage therapy reduces the pain in pregnant women, helps to ease the symptoms of prenatal depression, and improves the couple relationship.